Greetings, my dear friends. On the 22nd of April 2025, tourists were enjoying themselves in an idyllic morning in Pahalgam. Terrorists suddenly, along with Pakistan regulars from the Special Operations Group, masquerading as terrorists, killed a number of them based on religious identity. Indians were shocked. Not just Indians, the world was shocked. Indians demanded revenge. The Prime Minister promised a response that Pakistan couldn't even dream of. However, for 2 long weeks, there was no kinetic response. Small yet dramatic steps were taken in an escalatory manner, starting with cancellation of all types of visas for Pakistanis, stoppage of flights over India, and then banning of all trade, including from the third party, access to ports. Then came a masterstroke which people did not really understand at the first time. That was the holding of Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. The first time something like this had happened after so many wars since 1960s. There was commencement of civil defense drills, including air raid warnings and blackouts. Everyone, especially the Pakistanis, thought that India is unlikely to take kinetic action, at least soon, and was making noises as usual. Yet, suddenly, at 0110 hours, on the night of 6th and 7th May, India struck, striking 9 terrorist headquarters across Pakistan, including across the line, not just line of control, but the international border. Noteworthy among these strikes were the strikes at Bahawalpur at the Subhanallah Madrasa run by Jaish-e-Mohammed and its chief Masood Azhar. 14 members of Masood Azhar's family and 50 other terrorists were killed here. At Murid-Ke, in the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Toiba, killing Asad Rauf, an UN designated terrorist, among others. For the first time, the heart of Pakistan, Punjab, felt tremors of kinetic action and how the Pakistani army could not safeguard them. In the 3 days that followed, Pakistan fired over 1,000 drones, Hataf-2 missiles, at least one Shaheen missile. All of them were shot down by the Indian equivalent of the Iron Dome, something nobody had even dreamt of. India struck multiple times across Pakistan, neutralizing the HQ-9 and HQ-16 at Lahore and Karachi air defense systems from China, shot down over 8 military aircraft during the attacks, and hit 11 of the most strategic air bases of Pakistan, targeting Sargodha and Noor Khan bases. Those were considered impregnable. It called the nuclear bluff of Pakistan, and Pakistan sued for peace on the 10th of May. Welcome, my dear friends, to chassimplifes, your channel to demystify and simplify complex geopolitical issues into easily understandable bites. In this video, we will delve into Operation Sindoor. What were our entry and exit plans? What were our war aims? What were the compulsions and geopolitical aims of the other main actors? The US, China, Turkey, and of course, Pakistan. What did India achieve? Finally, how does this all impact India, and what is the way forward? On 22nd April, terrorists deliberately widowed 25 Hindu women after establishing their identity, killing the husbands in front of them, effectively, symbolizingly saying, "We are wiping the sindoor off your foreheads." Sindoor became the nation's emotion, the symbol of nation's emotion, and the name started reverberating with Indian Army's image of justice and ruthlessness. Army's message to all Indians was justice is served. While we do not go into the actual nitty-gritties of the operation itself, but we will focus on the aftermath and impact, not just on India, but also Pakistan and the world itself. A war is like a chakravyuh. It is easy to enter, but very difficult to get out. Look at Gaza, Ukraine. Since there is no exit strategy, there is a problem and these wars seem to be lingering on. Remember, in Mahabharata, Abhimanyu knew how to get into the chakravyuh, but he couldn't get out. War, like everything else, is a chakravyuh. India's fight, remember, was against terror. By extension, Pakistan, because Pakistan is the terror sponsor, state sponsor for terror. But was Pakistan the only person doing this? Don't forget, Pakistan is in the middle of economic chaos. Separatist movements are gathering steam. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Baluchistan, Sindh. Why would it then enter into a conflict with India at such a time? Was there somebody behind Pakistan? Don't forget, Pakistan is the ultimate rentier state, a real Hira Mandi. So, the people behind Pakistan, was there China, the United States, the deep state? All of them have their own axes to grind. Let's look at them. But let's look at India's aims. India's strategic war aim was simple: decisively target the 9 terrorist strongholds deep inside Pakistan, including its nerve center in Punjab. Send out an unequivocal message: India will strike terrorists anywhere on Pakistan soil at will. In addition to this, there were other minor aims. As a bonus, it established a new security doctrine, a doctrine which clearly states terror attacks will be met with military force. It equated state and non-state actors and erased that cloak of deniability which Pakistan generally enjoyed. It changed the concept of strategic depth into what I would call strategic death. Opened multiple fronts within Pakistan, from Afghanistan to Baluchistan, KPK to POK. The mandala theory in real action. Yet it opened a new front of water. It drew new red lines for Pakistan and established a new response template. And it restored deterrence, conventional deterrence. An unexpected bonus was the fact that India could call Pakistan's nuclear bluff. The first time 2 nuclear states fought militarily, virtually, shooting match. One of them was vanquished, and that too with conventional weapons. Supplementary war aims could be defined as, from the military's point of view, degrade Pakistan's war-fighting capability and its vital assets in the process, demonstrate India's military superiority, its ability to strike any part of Pakistan at will. Politically, India wanted to discredit the Pakistan army. Don't forget, the Pakistan army comes back stronger after every defeat. It has to be defeated not militarily, but politically. Discredit the Pakistan government by calling out its sponsorship of terror and to demonstrate to the Indian public Indian new political will, economic muscle, military might. Economically, India would love to degrade Pakistan's economic capability, denying trade and transit facilities, including through third parties. Use the Indus Water Treaty to create uncertainty over the availability of water by thereby degrading their agriculture, get Pakistan back into the grey list or the blacklist, preferably the blacklist, deny access to IMF's funds, or at least make that access even more stringent. Diplomatically, India could cobble together the entire world in support of itself Witness, other than China, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and to some extent Malaysia, no nation came out in support of Pakistan. Not even China came out openly in support of Pakistan. And all party delegations are going across all over the world to 25 nations to put across India's point of view. India has shown itself to be assertive, but taking the world along. The leader of the global south, its vaccine diplomacy, its strategy of democratizing digital and fintech capabilities have all paying rich dividends. Psychologically, it has driven fear into the minds of the population of Pakistan. It will make them question the Pakistan Army's ability to protect them. Let's look at the essential conduct of the Operation Sindoor, and you will find it has been escalatory. On day one, India struck 9 terrorist organizations, locations at Bahawalpur, Muridke in Punjab, among others. No government or military site was hit. It informed Pakistan of the strikes and said, let us not escalate. Pakistan didn't heed. It attacked with severe artillery and drone barrages, killing over 19 Indian civilians across the western border, also attacked India's military infrastructure. India retaliated that night with strikes on sites that were launching drones, their control infrastructure, the air defense in Lahore and Karachi. Pakistan still did not listen. On day 3, it launched Shaheen and Hatif missiles, Shaheen against Delhi and Hatif targeting the Golden Temple in Amritsar. All of them were neutralized, and that was the last straw. India retaliated with concentrated, accurate, precision strikes on 11 airfields across Pakistan, including Noor Khan and Sargodha. There have been significant damages in all of them, and as a bonus, it took out the nuclear command center and the entrances to the nuclear weapon sites, thereby making them unusable. Clearly calibrated, precision strikes were all designed to send across one message: Yudh mein bhi Buddh ka saath, meaning even in war, India will follow the principles of Gautam Buddha and not attack civilians. We spoke of war being a Chakravyuh and this Chakravyuh being run or being organized by China. Let's look at the main players here. Let's start with Pakistan. Pakistan is facing multiple front attacks. Internally, Baluchistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are on fire. Over 300 attacks on Pakistan Army have taken place in KPK within the last 5 months of 2025 alone. Over 50 in Baluchistan, including the Jafar train attack, wherein the Baluch actually could take over a complete train. There is simmering discontent in Sindh, Pak-occupied Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan. Externally, Afghanistan does not recognize the Durand Line. Pakistan crossed the Durand Line to target TTP positions inside Afghanistan by carrying out air attacks on the 18th of March and 25th of December 24. At least 25 skirmishes with bullets flying across both soldiers have been reported to date. The Iran border is not quiet either. Remember the missile attack by Iran on the 16th of Jan 24? There is high political instability in Pakistan, with Imran Khan in jail, causing embarrassment not just to the government but also to Asif Munir. Don't forget, on the 9th of May 23, the 4 Corps commander's house in Lahore was ransacked by the public. First time something like this ever happened against the army. Asif Munir is facing a near rebellion in the army, with resignations and discontent, especially post the Jaffa train attack, wherein over 500 soldiers have been considered to be dead in these attacks by TTP and the BLA. Pakistan is an agricultural economy. Over 60% of its population is engaged in agriculture. 25% of its GDP comes from here. Agriculture in Pakistan is dependent on water-intensive crops, rice, sugarcane, cotton, amongst others. Even without the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, Pakistan was already facing severe water shortage. The main dams on the Indus, Mangala, is operating at minimum operating level. Tarbela is at dead water level. This in April. The summer season is yet to start. These dams have not been desilted since commissioning. Effectively, what water comes in is the water that goes out. The Pakistan Army's corporate farming project called Green Pakistan was aimed to provide Indus water to an area called Cholistan, a semi-desert, semi-arid region in Punjab. Sindh is up in arms against it as it goes against the water sharing formula between Sindh and Punjab. Also considered a land grab by other means. The Kharif sowing season for rice and cotton is close. Water uncertainty is detrimental and can severely affect the output of the Kharif crop. Don't forget, all CPEC power plants are thermal power plants. They need water. That water is now scarce. Pakistan not only will face water shortage, agricultural produce shortage, but also power shortage. Pakistan is a water deficit nation. This situation is unlikely to reverse in the near future. The suspension of Indus Water Treaty is like a nuclear bomb, slowly but definitely hitting every part of Pakistan and its population. India can now move forward on all its projects which were hanging fire till now and will no longer need to pass hydrological data. I will do a full video on the IWT in the next few days. Respect for Pakistan's army is at its nadir. Asif Munir and the army face an existential crisis as India has changed the playbook and was hitting the army politically where it could have no response. Consider these: the abrogation of Article 356 in the Jammu and Kashmir area, the conduct of by and large peaceful elections with unprecedented voter turnout, massive investments, visible developments across J&K are visible even from POK. The suspension of Indus Water Treaty was the last straw, and Pakistan Army has no response to this. It needs to unite the masses so that it can earn their respect, get their support. So what else do they have? Back to 1.0, raise the India bogey, create war crowds, and then try to dissipate these war clouds. As a precursor to the Pahalgam attack, Asif Munir on his 16th April address to the Convention of Overseas Pakistanis in Islamabad harped back on the two-nation theory and said Hindus and Muslims are two different people, different cultures, and cannot live together. Pahalgam happens on the 22nd of April. Let's take a look at China. China is facing rising inflation and unemployment, especially youth unemployment. Youth unemployment is running over 20%, and China changed the rules of calculating unemployment. It removed students from the list of unemployed, and if someone had a job, a part-time job for 3 hours a week, he was considered employed. Despite fudging, unemployment is over 20%. A falling economy, drop in consumptions, no sales of property, despite rate cuts and incentives, revival seems unlikely. The restive population had traded economic prosperity for personal freedom. Post-COVID, there has been a move to de-risk from China, diversify supply chains, and therefore a lot of industry is fleeing China. Failed infrastructure, manufacturing, the BRI, and now failing banks. Stagnant, low internal consumptions. Recipes for disaster. Separatist movement in Baluchistan and KPK spelled doom for China's dream of becoming a global power. Its access to Indian Ocean is now at risk. Gwadar port, where it wanted to set up its first overseas theatre command, seems to be slipping, and its star CPEC, where it already sank $65 billion, is already in deep red. Trump's tariffs have added to China's economic woes. Trade war is affecting it very significantly. One of its major exports was weapons, and these weapons are now facing cancellation of orders due to poor performance. From Chinese tanks in Pakistan to Chinese aircraft in Myanmar and Nepal. From Chinese tanks actually breaking down during multilateral exercises in Russia to a nuclear submarine sinking alongside. Chinese rockets going all over the place or not taking off at all due to water in lieu of rocket fuel. All these are horror stories that I do not really need to remind all of you. Smarting under the humiliation of Galwan, and yet being forced to mend fences with India because it needs India for its economic and trade requirements. It needs to divert attention of its restive population. Let's take a look at Turkey. Turkey dreams of becoming the caliph. Erdogan wants to be the caliph and the caliphate to be reconstituted. It has Pakistan, Malaysia, and Azerbaijan as its main cheerleaders. Anywhere, therefore, there is a conflict involving Muslims or Islam, Turkey will jump in to show leadership. It has economic problems with high inflation, falling currency, a restive Kurd population, issues with NATO, especially with Greece and Cyprus. Yet Erdogan manages to manage his internal dissent politically by arrest and intimidation. It supported Pakistan not just with drones but also operators. The other big player, US. Pakistan's geography is what lures the US into Pakistan. From Pakistan, the US can look at, control, keep an eye on Iran and China. Via Afghanistan, it can keep an eye on Russia. That is exactly the same reason why US went into Afghanistan in the first place and now is eyeing the Bagram Air Base. Its need to shore up its presence in Persian Gulf and of course deny space to China is all important. And therein comes the bonus. Pakistan offered Trump a partnership in cryptocurrency with a company where Trump family owns 60% stake. It also offered the Ricodec and other mines in Baluchistan rich in copper, gold and other rare earths. Trump understands two things: trade and money, real estate, and all that was on offer from Pakistan. Here the Baluch have a fantastic opportunity. If they can pitch Jacobabad as a base to US, then Pakistan may not be relevant anymore in US eyes because Baluchistan can fulfill all the requirements of Pakistan and with a bonus of stymieing China's interests in a very significant way. Don't forget, there was a Ralph Peters map which came out in 2009 having bipartisan support, and that map showed Baluchistan as an independent country, KPK with Afghanistan, POK and Gilgit-Baltistan with India, and a shrunk Pakistan. This is in line with that premise. For US, it is very wary of India. It needs to keep India under check. They feel India feels it is too independent, too autonomous for its liking. It would love to keep India under check with low-level conflict originating from both Pakistan and Bangladesh. The US is already making moves in Bangladesh and trying to take over the St. Martin's Island. It's created a corridor to help the Arakan army rebels to show focus on Myanmar. This Chakravyuh, launched by China, with Pakistan playing the main role, the front end, with US and deep state in support from behind. A rising India is not a palatable option for any of them. They tried everything, from Pegasus to Adani, from farmer and anti-CAA protests to Manipur, Bangladesh, funding jihadi left liberal cabal to even protests against the Waqf bill. Success continues to elude them. Engulfing India in a communal fire from inside, instigated with possible deniability from Pakistan, and as a bonus, getting India engulfed into a conflict with Pakistan, a drawn-out one, would suit their ends very well. This template was tried out successfully in Ukraine. Pakistan, the ultimate rentier Hira Mandi, was ready to do anything so long as it could get its back against India and the money. It expected India to play by the old playbook, which was step 1, Kadi Ninda, step 2, army mobilization, protests, step 3, dossiers, some small action, and step 4, back to status quo ante. But India has changed. It changed the playbook. A self-reliant and a vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047 imparts India with new energy and urgency. India placed limits to restraint and peace. Look at the instances post-2014. They were all progressively escalatory, yet maintained an eagle-eye focus. Uri was responded by a surgical strike, very limited. Pulwama came with a strike on Balakot. One strike, one location, but clear focus. Pahalgam came up with Operation Sindoor, targeting all of Pakistan, including the heart, Punjab, yet focus remained terrorist and military infrastructure. India realized that the UN and the UNSC are irrelevant. They just ignored it. It unified terrorists and terrorist backers and targeted both of them. Defense in depth became defense in depth. Every inch of Pakistan territory was accessible from inside India. It targeted the Noor Khan Air Base, the best defended, Sargodha, the garrison town, Rawalpindi, the heart of Pakistan's military, the biggest base, Masroor, hosting the AQ-9 system. Before we go ahead, what did India achieve? Let's examine a few of the criticisms that were leveled against the government for agreeing to a cessation of firing on the 10th of May. Some of them were, we should have finished off Pakistan. Some said, at least we should have taken the POK. Some others said, we should have continued for 24 hours, 72 hours, 96 hours, any number. Others found fault with Trump announcing the ceasefire. But did anyone explain what is finished off Pakistan? Does it mean India take over the entire territory of Pakistan? In that case, what happens to the jihadi filled with hate population of Pakistan? This will add to our economic burden and alter the demographic profile very significantly. Are we ready for it? What is meant by takeover POK? Does it mean all the people, including the hardcore Punjabi jihadist mentality people? I don't know. Important here is, did we achieve what we set out? Our primary objective was to neutralize terrorist targets decisively, counter Pakistan's retaliation. We did that to such an extent that no immediate military targets were there to fight anymore for any further escalation. We demonstrated our ability, our right to strike terror targets anywhere, anytime, globally. The nuclear threshold was raised, the nuclear bluff called. India tested and significantly raised this threshold, securing a strategic advantage for the future. The first and the only instance so far of two nuclear powers in a shooting match and one winning comprehensively with only conventional weapons. It showed India as a mature military power where it controlled the escalation, yet dominated whatever engagements were there. It showed India as a responsible nuclear state. It ensured economic stability as far as investors are concerned, that economics will not be derailed by military action, reinforcing its image as a prudent global power. Maintained diplomatic flexibility and was able to convince the world to come on its side. It contained the Kashmir issue into keeping it bilateral, despite attempts by Pakistan to internationalize it. It restored conventional deterrence. India's growth continues unhindered. A punitive military action, executed without spiraling into a protracted conflict, keeps India's trajectory intact. The bonus was the India's defense equipment, which are now ready for the globe. The quality of Indian defense equipment surprised everyone. Quietly, India had gone about enhancing its capability over the last decade. It developed Akash Tir integrated networked air defense system, making India's skies impregnable, networking across the western border, demonstrated and tried out and tested in real battle. Multi-layered defense, its missiles like the BrahMos, the rocket Pinaka, Akash, QRSAM, MRSAM, all of them have showcased themselves, proven themselves in battle, and the Chinese air defense did not even last 20 minutes of real combat. At least 4 PL-15 missiles, the much touted PL-15 missiles, were found in complete state inside Indian territory. A new Asian superpower has risen. What has been the impact as far as India is concerned? India now faces an undeclared war by China. China is at least as aggressive, if not more, against India with respect to Taiwan. It will do everything to keep India on an edge. Collusion with Turkey, China in Pakistan in Bangladesh, China in Myanmar, all of them point to this particular fact. It's a precursor that India is facing a 3.5 front war. The US is also taking active interest in Bangladesh and Myanmar. It shows India cannot rest or let its guard down in the east. It borders two failing states, Pakistan and Bangladesh. What happens if they collapse or get into a civil war? We will need to be prepared for masses of jihadis disguised as refugees demanding to enter India. How we handle them with nearly porous borders and some state governments willing to get them in as vote banks. India is already hosting millions of illegal Bangladeshis and Rohingyas. Baluchistan is well on its way towards independence. If Baluch do offer a base in Jacobabad to US, the results could well be dramatic. US would be ready to ditch Pakistan in favor of Baluchistan because all its aims, plus the bonus of keeping China out totally would be there. Independent Baluchistan may well propel Afghanistan to reclaim KPK. Will Sindh declare independence? Will Pakistan just shrink to Punjab? China's response to an independent Baluchistan, especially with US blessings, would be, to say the least, dramatic, interesting. Its dreams of the Overseas Theatre Command in Gwadar, resolving the Malacca dilemma and the $65 billion sunk in the CPEC will all spell doom, further doom for its economy. China will face a major loss of face and may well lash out as a face-saving formula that may well be India. Things have changed permanently in Pakistan. Far away, this has been felt in Taiwan, which has got a new lease of life with the failure of Chinese weapons and systems. Baluchistan is most likely to be the next independent state in this region. Other areas, KPK, Sindh, Gilgit-Baltistan, POK, all getting new ideas. A desperate Pakistan, especially faced with balkanization, may well give rise to desperate moves, including or especially nuclear saber rattling. What happens to the nuclear arsenal? How will India and the world ensure the safety and evacuation of this arsenal? How will India handle the humanitarian and refugee crisis post-breakup or civil war in Pakistan? Falling China, economic faltering, restive people and protests against the CCP getting more and more common, China has two rentier states, Pakistan and Bangladesh, to fall back on, creating disquiet, unrest, chaos in India. With this undeclared war on India, we need to be prepared for increased internal disquiet. Don't forget, the Pahalgam attack was designed to provoke communal hatred and chaos inside India, which the Waqf bill could not. The CAA, anti-CAA riots could not. India will continue to weed out the Rohingyas and the Bangladeshis. The famous half front will always play a role in this. India must be prepared to handle and tackle internal trouble, especially fermented by Pakistan through its from the proxy Pakistan and the proxy Bangladesh on behalf of China. In effect, India will face more chakravyus. The unprecedented use of social media, both intentional and unintentional people, will dictate need for greater vigilance and sensitivity. Our eastern front will continue to get hotter and hotter, with more incidents like Manipur to be likely. A new global superpower has risen. India will need both economic and military might to establish itself and maintain itself. A $4 trillion economy to ensure its safety and continued progress, India will need to spend more on defense and internal security to ensure there are no hiccups. Atmanirbharta is the way forward. How we navigate these choppy waters, both internal and external, will determine our progress to Viksit Bharat by 2047. So my dear friends, we continue living in very interesting times. If you approve of the video, please do leave a like and please do comment. That motivates me immensely. As always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so far, and press the bell icon to be notified of new videos. Please share this video with your friends and family. And as always, I look forward to your suggestions and continued support. Until next time, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.